Hey, everybody. Yeah, sorry about that. Wow, my microphone's playing tricks, but welcome back to Burn Bryte, another episode of our Burning Daylight campaign in the very super cool science fantasy game Burn Bryte, exclusively made for Roll20. Thank you so much for joining us. This is episode 6 of 10, and the action has gotten very, very spicy so far. So I am really excited to see what happens today. We are unfortunately missing one of our cast members, Jess, today, but we will do our very, very best to represent that blip energy and that good exploring driftling energy. I promise, Jess, we got you. So with that out of the way, we do have the challenge of refiguring out the alphabetical order here. So let's start off. Hey everybody, my name is Celeste Konowich, and I'm going to be your game master today.
Hey everybody, I'm Darcy Ross. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm playing the lovely Ola, the Kithuk, ex-warrior, big lovable bug man of the ship, and keen on this mystery of Wanda, our ship, and sort of starting the scene in some dicey situations. So very excited. I was also one of the designers on the game, and I'm super happy to be here.
Yeah.
Hi everybody, I'm Eugenio. You might know me as DM Jazzy Hands, and tonight I am playing Atash Telenest, our slug friend, our Zavoy, who has recently finally acquired another body to get things done in. Oh, they're so thrilled to finally not have to talk like this. Oh, it's been exhausting.
Mm-hmm.
They convinced the Jour that we were with last week to provide the body of one of their deceased friends named Katalin. And so Atash has not inhabited that body yet, but I'm very excited to find out where that goes, especially since we adjusted the stranger in a strange land to apparently be stranger in a strange body.
Yes. We're making it work.
Absolutely. Oh, I'm super into it.
Story paths are a really cool and creative part of this game, so I'm kind of excited that we're exploring maybe some other ways that you could use those.
Absolutely. And, I think it's important because, these would be the things that would be easy, I think, to overwhelm a new player and be like, oh, but if I don't do it like this, but just like anything else in the game, make it work for you.
Yeah, exactly. Great advice. And
thanks.
And hello, I'm Naseem. I'm playing your bugmen people, Rornan Vam, and I am now twice the size and power because I have come together with a fellow Rornan, Kazda. We have come together. We have coalesced. Is that the right word?
Not technically. You're still working on the finer details.
I'm forcing it.
Okay. I just want to spend all my time with Kazda and just in one big bug swarm.
I've gained an ally. I've gained a follower as part of my story path. And since I failed to mention last time the new fun things I get to do from my story path, basically, since we gained 2 of the story points, I got 1 extra die in a social skill, and I chose to grow my presence. And I also gained a special ability. Yes, I gained a special ability, psychic targeting, which is really cool. Basically, I can use an advantage when an ally uses an attack with a ranged weapon, both in ship combat and regular combat, so that the ranged weapon hits both near and far.
Whoa.
So no matter what, it will reach the target.
Okay, well, that's frightening for all of my future enemies. But oh boy. Yes. So that is our crew. So thank you everybody so much for being here. Before we dive into the recap of what happened last time, I want to tell you about a donation campaign that we have going on right now. You can see in the Tiltify bar up above. You can donate if you would like to the campaign right there. Code 2040, which is an awesome organization dedicated to addressing and removing systemic barriers in the tech industry for Black and Latinx technologists. So if you do choose to donate every time we hit one of those $100 marks, we are giving away a copy of Burn Bryte. So if you are super into this system, come on, donate. You can enter to win. We hold a raffle when we hit that mark, and it's super good times for a super good cause. So please consider donating to Code 2040. But I think that's all the business. So let's get to the spicy stuff. Tell me what happened last time on Burn Bryte.
First thing, I believe we docked onto this space station, and upon entering, myself was thrilled to feel and see the new Rornan that we both freaked out. We had our little tornado greeting. We got each other's scents. We reveled in each other's presence, and we kind of had our own little reunion party for a minute while everyone else was getting to know each other.
Yeah, and while you were getting to know the rest of the crew, what did you find out, Eugenio, Darcy? Who was on this station?
A bunch of plant people who
Yes.
like to recycle.
They do.
We discovered the Jour people, who had some similarities actually with the Rornan, which I think was part of why. I just blanked out. Not Kazdea. That's another character. Kazda. Who's Kazdea? That's a character from another actual play, maybe? It doesn't matter.
It's a cool name. I'm stealing it, putting it on my
name.
names list.
Yeah, so the Jour are a plant people, but they're similar to the Rornan in that they also used to be sort of a collective mind centered in their mother tree. And much also like the Rornan, they have a sad story in that the mother tree was destroyed, and their sort of psychic links were severed, and they had to go through a lot to sort of piece their psyches back together after that event. They don't have a great reputation in the galaxy because they weren't the most awesome of folks beforehand. Mother Tree really just wanted to take over systems, I guess. But this particular space station of Jour that we have met are basically just trying to feed the hungry, as I recall. That's really all they want.
Cool
so
genetic
Atash spent
engineers.
The science, Atash really paid very little attention to much of anything other than their recycling systems, and really enjoyed seeing how this sort of like autobiological recycling and conservation worked.
They had awesome food, different plants from our home planets. We spent some time with these lovely scientists. We got to see how their ship is very different from pretty much any other ship we've experienced, in that it is a kind of grown, living, organic thing, as opposed to being powered by a magical intelligence like Wanda. And in trying to get our ship repaired, we spent some time with them, and they were able to fuse a cool, like, little, like, organic stump onto our engine to kind of help us get going and get us the speed we need to get over to that that space station where we're trying to confront the daylight cult. So our little Wanda is getting even weirder, and I love it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. In our assessment of the damage, we also found that there were two like coexisting files that were both on and operating at the same time, but Wanda wasn't really responsive. We were hearing like a weird gurgly static whenever we tried to communicate with her.
Yeah, two magical intelligences downloaded
somehow
to one ship somehow. Yeah, and then what happened with that?
In an effort to sort of reach out to Wanda or whoever else is powering this thing at the moment, because there is power, Ola stepped into magical intelligence space and saw a little girl there, a little Kithuk girl who seemed very confused and called herself Clara, I think. And just as she was sort of starting to say, "I can't see you, it's so dark," things got real weird inside MI space, and apparently very weird and bad outside MI space. And we're sort of going to enter into, I think, strange lights and maybe a mysterious being on the ship. So TBD.
Yeah, what did Atash and Vam see on the outside of the ship here? I think Vam was actually in their quarters, so I think Atash and it was Lou who are seeing this thing now. Do you remember what that was?
I was so busy bringing Catalina aboard that I don't.
Okay. All right. Well, we can go ahead and pick up right there. And let's do a fun transition because I can show you pictures because it's Roll20.
Yes.
Whoa. Let's go. Oh, my God. Gameplay screen. Woo! Here we are. We've arrived. Aha, not yet. We're still on the entry screen, folks.
Just kidding. Gotcha.
JK.
It's a little secret fun that I get to pop off after you listen to my words. So that is where we are picking up today. All of you are now aboard the newly engined Wanda. After working with Bud, one of the Jur who seemed the most mechanically minded, he had installed this organic engine in place of your old ones, and you all had come on board the ship kind of to check it out, maybe investigate some of the problems you've been having with Wanda, the MI. And so you did, as Ola, you descended into MI space and had this bizarre flickering image. It was almost like reality was struggling to maintain itself in MI space, where you met this little girl, Clara. So here you are standing in this white, flickering, staticky world right now. It's a little bit unsure of how exactly you're going to get out because things are so strange. And again, you kept seeing, the floor is starting to disappear around you, and this girl is in front of you, and she just keeps saying I'm sorry, I can't hear you. It's so dark. So you're kind of caught in this feedback loop almost. And just on the outside, far away from that specific problem, you had seen a figure appear on the front end of that ship. So Atash, right in front of you here is this floating, almost like neon blue outline of, it looks like an Eno, maybe, but twisted with these strange, hollow kind of crying eyes. And this figure had floated up around this MI Jack space, and she had said something to you. She said, no, you can't, and then was sort of wailing at you with this banshee cry. And let me go ahead and show you what you're looking at here. Once
I remember that vividly now, and I remember blocking it out because it was creepy AF and it was midnight here.
I didn't like it. It was a good... Woo! Oh my gosh. Whoa. Look at this, everybody.
Show me.
Oh, yes, but also no.
Yes. So you see this ghostly apparition here in front of you. And again, just the perpetual crying is kind of draws your attention as this thing is shrieking at you and sort of hovering over the MI. And you see that this being extends a hand forward, and from it this crackle of electricity comes out and shoots and hits Lou directly in the chest. And you see as this happens, Raindrop leaps from around the corner of the ship, and you hear as Raindrop goes up and is squaring off with this ghost thing, as you see Lou falls to the ground, seemingly unconscious from this blow. Atash, what are you doing in this moment?
God, with poor Coddleton sort of being dragged along behind me, I am going to I'm gonna go towards Lou, and then realize that at the moment moving Lou is not really gonna happen. Arms feel like an important part of moving her. So it's not gonna be nearly as fast to all of you, but to Atash, they're moving very quickly. Moving over to Lou, realizing that I can't grab Lou, moving back to Coddleton, and I'm gonna go ahead and spend a Nova point and very quickly get into the Jur body.
Oh, cool.
Ooh, what? I'm afraid to ask, but what does that look like?
We have to know.
So
I don't know if I want to know, but I do.
I think Atash doesn't know either at first, like how to do it.
Yeah.
Right? Because usually it requires usually it requires like an obvious orifice, right? The mouth is standard, but really, you know, ears work, the nose works in a pinch.
Yeah.
But Cotyledone's head is a little cotyledon leaf. So after a moment of like panic, Atash is gonna go to the back or to the bottom of Cotyledone's body where the I don't know. In that drawing, it has cute little pink shoes on.
Yeah, I imagine there are roots inside.
Exactly.
The shoes.
So Atash is going to sort of bite onto the shoes to pull them off, and then just start sort of poking at the feet of Cotyledon, and eventually Atash just starts to sort of lengthen, and it's really actually quite horrifying for me because I am entering Cotyledon through multiple sort of, which one's the one that goes up, xylem or phloem? Anyway, one of those, whichever one goes up the plant, right? I'm going through all of these different little vessels sort of at the same time through the feet, and I'm sort of being pulled apart as each of the roots little openings sucks Atash into it. And you know, Lou is obviously the focus here, but if anyone was watching, there would be sort of this moment where nothing happened.
Yeah.
And then eventually sort of, you know, from the feet up, twitches begin, and Atash is gonna pop up onto their feet, very unsteady, but manage to grab Lou and start dragging her to our healing bay.
Yeah. So you do, and this creature continues to hover and swirl over this MI Jack. Vam, let's jump to you. I think you can probably hear at this point the yelling and the crackle of electricity coming from the front of the ship. So what are you up to?
At this point, we've probably wrapped up our little video message, just hit send, and we're hearing a commotion outside. So let's peek out of our little bedroom door, and from there, from that angle, what do I see?
Well, let's see, because Atash would be dragging Lou back, so you probably see coming from the front of the ship, this plant body, dragging an unconscious Lou, and you hear, just a constant, like, yep, coming from the room, just in front of them.
Okay. So I don't see this Eno.
No, not at all.
We're gonna flatten and work our way into the room that we hear the sound to see what's going on first, because I think seeing Lou on the ground is concerning, but we're not in a panic just yet. We don't know exactly what happened.
Sure.
And I think we would assume that is Atash, like, he probably got a body from the Zur and is already taken to it very quickly. Yeah, we're gonna flatten and work our way to the noise.
Sure. And as you do so, you know, you move past that lounge, that kind of central area on Wanda. I guess let's go ahead and bring Wanda up here. I guess we're done looking at Plasma Ghost. Goodbye. Oh, no, I won't tell you the secrets. We're closing out. Okay. So we are on Wanda here. Oh, there's our girl. There she is.
Sweet, beautiful Wanda.
Sweet Wanda. So basically, yeah, you can come down out of your quarters here. So like in this area is basically where you saw Atash, you know, dragging Lou's body from. So the noise is definitely coming by the MI Jack, which is up here in Sector 1. So as you kind of crawl and flatten your way there, you see this thing, this hovering semi-transparent apparition that just seems to be floating around that pool that's the entryway there. And you can see, I mean, Raindrop is like all around the floor of this thing, and Raindrop is also like, because they can phase in and out, so Raindrop is sort of like teleporting and phasing around and like trying to bark at this thing and reaching up like with its little paws and trying to reach it, but it doesn't seem to be doing anything as it like bites through this ghost that you're seeing there. And honestly, the ghost doesn't seem so concerned about Raindrop. It is looking very intently at this pool that contains Ola's submerged body.
Oh, okay. Not good. We'd like to make a knowledge check to see if I recognize this as, I don't know, a hologram or a ghost, if those exist here.
Yeah, why don't you go ahead and give me a complexity 3 to see if you know what this thing is.
Okay. Huh? No.
Ooh. Oh, let me switch over. So, that's a fail. You are like, what is this? It makes no rational sense that this thing is here. I mean, it doesn't really look like a hologram, or if it is, it's the most advanced hologram you've ever seen, the way it moves and interacts, and you're like, when did we install a hologram thing on Wanda? What? No, it's clearly some kind of being. It's whatever it's doing with intelligence. Yeah, but this is a very strange creature.
Then I will attempt to speak to it. Excuse me. How did you come upon our ship?
And this being stops what it's doing and just spins, like 180 degrees to kind of look at you. And you are now confronted with those sort of hollow sockets with the endless tears running down their face. And they look at you for a moment and they go very, very quiet. And their mouth opens as the jaw distends in a way that no normal creature could, and it howls. And in that moment, it dissipates. It bursts apart like mist, and it's gone. And Ola, as you are here in this MI space, just I think trying to get your grip on what's happening here.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, you see the floor begins to reassert itself. And it's no longer this weird, like, pitfall kind of structure. You see solid wood appear below you, and it's like pixel by pixel. The space you're standing in starts to change, starting with that wooden tile right below you and extending outwards until you see like a long bar begins to build itself here, and eventually a saloon sort of appears. And the last thing that doesn't look like your normal MI space is this girl who's just standing there, and again she says, "It's so dark. I can't. It's so dark." And with that, she disappears.
Oh.
And you are in this dusty old saloon. And sitting on one of these bar stools is this woman who reaches over the bar and grabs a glass of something amber colored and begins pouring it in front of you.
I've been in MI space here before, right? Did we establish that?
I think so. I think you were the only one who had actually seen Wanda's MI space before this.
Avatar kind of, yeah. I take a few slow steps up and sit up at a bar stool and Wanda, how about we start with the usual?
All right.
Okay, she's back.
What is that? And she goes and points over, and like sitting on the end of the bar is this like giant lush fern that looks very out of place in this like weird dusty little saloon. She's like, "I did not put that in here."
Wanda, we have some updates for you. There's been a lot going on. How are you feeling?
A little rough, but I guess that's not too unusual. Seems like I took a little nap there, but I guess I managed to make it through. Glad you didn't let me die.
Yes. One thing, well, we're happy to have you back, first of all. there were some additional componentry that we had to bring aboard to get us back on our feet. We stopped at some, this is a new part of the engine that I'm imagining might be reflected in your MI space. We took aboard one of the organic engines of the Jour people and have fused it in a perhaps risky maneuver, but one that seems to have worked. So I'm afraid you might have to make do with the new habitant.
She looks at you with like utter horror on her face, and she like slams her hands down, and she kind of stares off into space, and her eyes move rapidly like she's reading something invisible, and she's like, what did you do to my ship? This is, what is I can't, how do I even, it's a stump.
But it will be so much more, we're told. It may not look like much now, but we've seen these things power a whole ship without a magical intelligence. So we're sure this can supplement you until we're able to, get the ship in, your lovely parts back in working order.
She goes, oh my God. And she looks behind you, and you see that like a big cactus has appeared on the bar on the other end, and she's just like,
oh no.
Well,
Wanda.
It's I've seen a lot of things in my life, but I have to say, this is new.
I'm afraid there's one more piece of news that you should absolutely know.
She holds up a finger. She's like, and then swigs back this brown liquid, and she's like, all right.
There's someone else here, and there has been for perhaps a long time. When we tried to wake you earlier, we brought aboard an engineer, and in looking at things, there's not just one overlay of magical intelligence on this ship, but two. And now we have no idea how that is even possible, but there is someone else here, and her name might be Clara. There was a little Kithuk girl who I encountered in your MI space. So,
I mean, to be quite honest with you, that might explain a lot. I'm not really sure how that works, but there are, since you brought it up before, there are definitely gaps in my programming. It's like, I don't know, someone tried to delete something and just never got rid of it. I always took it for just a rough night, but that would make a lot more sense.
Well, I hope it continues to make more sense for all of us, but I want you to know that, we're here for you, Wanda, and we're going to get you to a more comfortable space. And I'm very sorry for all the inconveniences we're going to have on this trip, but, please let me know if any other things start to make themselves more clear. I'm worried about this other intelligence and, your safety and sovereignty.
Oh, ain't you sweet? And she goes and she like grabs your knee. She gives a squeeze. It's kind of flirty.
Oh my gosh, I love this lush. I love her. I think Ola gets, a little like fluttery in some little vibrissae sticking off of his chin. Can't really blush very well, but flutters. We should be getting back to the rest of the team, but we're so happy to see you up and at 'em.
Sure. I mean, one thing I will say for this plant you've put in my engines, I do seem to be back up at full power, so I guess whatever it's doing, it's that green wheat, whatever.
Whatever gets us there.
I'm ready to... Yeah, I'm ready to take off when you are. I don't like the smell around here. And she like kind of looks, and in the corner of the room, like a potted palm has appeared by the billiards table. And she's like, right.
I'm so delighted. The way out is the usual. Things have gotten very unusual here. That door.
Yeah, well, I'm still conscious anyway. Yeah, the front door should work.
All right. We'll get you. Let's get back on our way. Thank you, Wanda. Glad to have you back.
Well, you know where I'll be if you need me. She pours another glass.
Oh, Wanda. Excellent. Ola steps up from the bar stool and, steps over some, viney thing sort of crawling along the floor.
As the room is rapidly becoming like your hipster girl dream house, like full of like macrame plant holders are just starting to appear around here. And Wanda's just like, I just don't.
Oh, poor Wanda. Poor Wanda. Excellent. I'm going to scuttle out and hopefully find myself in that vat of MI space. That's over here on here on the map, right?
Here.
Okay.
Yep. So on the other side of what's happening here, so Vam, you see this figure just disappear, and then you also see that as this happens, because right now emergency power has been on, like that low power setting. All of a sudden the lights like come back up and everything is restored to full power as you hear chirps and beeps coming from all of the stations that are now restarting. And it seems like Wanda, I mean, that engine must be working because she is back at full power and full health.
We're just standing over Ola's body trying to wait for him to step out of the MI space and get the update, the diagnosis of what's going on, because it does seem to be back up and running.
It seems like Ola did something.
Considering what we just saw, I want to know what he experienced.
Yeah, and you do in just a couple minutes' time, you see Ola begins to float back up to the surface of this kind of gelatinous pool, and Ola, you have returned to material space.
I'm wiping, droplets of the liquid off, and sort of shaking off my little head plates. Wanda's back.
It does appear that the ship is fully operational. I should inform you, however, that there seemed to have been some sort of apparition. We are not clear as to whether or not it was of magical origins, technological origins, or what have you, but it seems to have disappeared, and Lou was dragged off unconscious.
Is Lou all right?
We are not aware.
Well, I'll fill you in on what I saw in MI space as we perhaps go check on Lou.
Yeah, and what is happening in the healing bay right now with Atash and Lou?
So very ungainly and awkwardly, as I still figure out this body configuration, I get Lou into the healing bay, and none of us have ever used this because we just got it.
You probably have the instruction manual that was like taped to the side by Mondu, so you can pull that up and start flipping through.
Yes, just flipping, reading, looking.
Yeah, and
flipping.
to make matters worse, Raindrop, the minute that apparition disappeared, has beamed through the walls and it's just climbing all over Lou. So every time you try to put like a tube or a patch, Raindrop is like so concerned and all in Lou's business. So it's just extra impossible to try and get this working.
Atash is seriously considering seeing if Raindrop will go into the cryo freezer until Lou's better.
yeah, like
for just everyone's sake, including Raindrop's, honestly, because clearly this is very upsetting for Raindrop. So
yeah. And let's go ahead and actually look at what let's look at what the healing bay does, since we're using it for the first time.
On her character, on Wanda's sheet, and all it says is, a creature who spends 2 hours in the healing bay restores all health levels and removes all negative conditions.
Ooh!
So I figure that's got to cover something that's wrong with her.
Yeah, definitely.
That's wrong with them. Sorry. Yeah, so I mean, I think certain parts of it are fairly self-evident. Put them sort of in the correct like orientation, and then figure out how to fit their various species parts, into the right straps and holds and things.
And I mean, I think since you're using the healing bay, let's define, what does it look like? What is this this incredible technology look like? Is it things you stick on the body? Is it like a pod? What is it?
I kind of imagined it like the med bay pod in Alien.
Mm-hmm.
So sort of like a white like tray, essentially, that you can bring like diagnostic tools over to do like scans, or you can sort of slide the tray in to do like the actual healing.
Yeah. Definitely. So eventually you managed to get Lou in there, and you managed to get Raindrop out of there. So you
I think the latter probably takes more time.
Takes more time, definitely. And so I think you probably finish like just as you get them like all comfortable in there and close the button. I think Ola and Vam, you can kind of come around the corner here and see your friend in a azure body. Yeah.
Is there some like gesture or body language that cues us in to sort of a classic Atash kind of
Atash?
I don't know. Is there anything that like clues us in?
I think Atash's posture is pretty universally terrible, no matter what body they're in.
Makes sense.
Because like it's not a thing that in Zavoy body they have to worry about ever. So I think they're always just
your
like
little leaf is like folded into your shoulders. Yeah.
Exactly.
So cute.
So I'll turn around and I will see my two friends and go to reassure them and sort of begin to try and speak, and then this is yet another thing that I don't really know how to do in this body, so sort of weird sounds come out, and then finally and it's this little folded leaf of a head, and I think we were told that it's one of the younger Jour that was there, but you all sort of see Jour Atash sort of doing their head doing odd things, and then finally they say, she's gonna be fine. Oh, I don't know if this is better.
Oh, I love it.
How is this voice coming? It's so small. It's fine. All right. Well, at least I'm not lisping.
What happened? Oh, I almost started mimicking
Yeah.
you.
Now we all
Just
talk like this.
That struck me by surprise so much. I was not expecting that voice. What happened to them? What happened to them?
This thing appeared and it sort of hit her in the chest, and she fell down. And I don't know. We got Mandu to give us this thing. I figured we might as well try it.
Oh yes, we did purchase this for this exact reason. I am sure they will be fine and up back onto their feet in no time.
Approximately 2 hours, it says, and I'm approximately 92% sure that I hooked them up right. We'll see. We'll check her in a couple of hours. If they're not better, then we'll try again.
I always find that when I've hit a healing bay, I need a good nap afterwards. So they might be a little longer before they're much used to the ship, but I
maybe until like
good.
I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
9
we
p.m.
can
Pacific
maybe put
time
them
or something. I don't know.
We can put them in the cryo chamber for a nice sleep until next week.
Question: have we already like hit the road and we're out floating away from the station that we were attached to, or we're still attached?
No, you're still docked in the station.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, either way, I guess I was going to try and talk with Kazda, just be like, have you ever experienced such an apparition?
No, this is a highly unusual phenomenon, but perhaps if we spent some time researching, we could discover the nature of this thing.
Wonderful suggestion.
It does seem to have particular characteristics that might help us define what exactly this being is.
To the whatever the internet is called.
Compliment.
The Complenet.
Compliment.
Batman. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, well, if you do want to have like a little team meeting and kind of share all the information you have so far so you all are up to date, and you can certainly do that. But are there any additional comments or theories or actions you want to take? I know Vam is probably going to go and research on the Complenet with Kazda. So Ola, Atash, anything in particular?
I think Ola is really eager to get Wanda's, sort of ready for heading out into space. I think that, Ola is sort of doing the pre-flight engine check, kind of the basics, going through all the areas and checking on the new fused engine. But is otherwise pretty focused on, we need to go, we've spent some time here. We really need to catch up to those kidnappers. So I'll definitely, hang out with our sort of group download, but I think Ola's ready to get into space.
Yeah, Atash is too. I mean, once we've determined the basics, that Wanda is back and functional, then whatever it takes to get us moving towards Inferni. What's the name of the station?
The Inferna.
The Inferna.
Mm-hmm.
And then once we're off and things seem like all systems go, I think Atash is going to want to spend some time getting to know this body, and with their what's it actually called? Brain bond special ability, we'll just sort of start learning not just about how the body functions, but also like a little bit about the Jur culture.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so it sounds like we're pretty much ready to kind of launch off the station. So all of the Jur scientists definitely come down to say goodbye, especially to Kazda, who's someone they've worked with and lived with for quite some time. So that is a fond parting. And again, they reiterate that if there's anything they can do, you can certainly swing by the station on the way back. They're not sure if they could help, but whatever it takes. Are you talking to them, Atash, in the...
I think I am fading to the back as much as possible, because I know, I don't know why, I just know that people get weird about this.
Honestly, they don't seem super weird about it.
Oh.
In fact, they all kind of hand you, because when you talk to, Anther about this and got the body initially, she handed you a care list and like a box and questionnaires for you to fill out and send back.
That's right.
So as you talk to them, they're all they're like, wow, this is amazing. Like, you look great. This is great. And they all give you individual reports. They're like, I know it's not, but maybe you could fill this out too, or like this too. So all like sort of on their different departments. So they all seem honestly really stoked by the idea of you.
Cool.
Which is not a normal reaction.
We are going to live with the Jur forever after this is done. This is great.
Yeah. No, they're like, just remember. Surveys.
Yeah, and I think Atash is super into the surveys, because it gives them a guide for like, because otherwise like, I wouldn't know what questions to ask, right? Yeah, exactly. So they sort of give me a bit of a framework to start learning from. So I love that.
Yeah. And Anther in particular, who was again the sunflower-headed one, she's just like, seriously, Atash, anytime you want to come back, I think perhaps. Maybe when you're done adventuring and stuff, maybe you'd consider coming back to work here with us on something. It'd be amazing, to have somebody who's sort of a organic fauna expert to complement our flora. So, the offer's open, and her petals kind of curl shyly.
Ola is like watching from down a hallway, like. Just very Uncle Iroh from the Tales, right?
Sip a cup of tea.
Ship it.
Yes. Yeah. I think little like dew droplets form on my little head, and I just sort of nod and say that would be really. I mean, that's so very generous of you. I really hope that that we survive so that I can come back and do that. That sounds great. And, you know, even luckier, I can even come back without this, you know, having fallen apart around me. And that's, yeah.
That would be great.
Yeah.
And yeah, her petals open back up again. And you know, they all stand on the dock and kind of wave to you all, and you know, thank you Vam and thank you Ola for being such great guests, and again for saving them. You know, they estimate the ship will be, you know, self-repaired quite soon, so looks like the damage wasn't too strict, but yeah, they all wave to you.
I think as we're waving goodbye, I feel like something wants to happen, and I don't know what it is, so I just sort of give into it. And for the first time, Catalina's little leaves open up as we're leaving.
Oh, yay! Oh, love it, love it. So you all board your ship, and you know, resume your piloting navigation spots, and Wanda lifts up once again quite smoothly, considering how much damage she's sustained. I mean, definitely on the outside, it looks like you went through a fight, but you know, systems are functioning. It ain't pretty, but it works as you take off and drift away from this Jur petal-shaped station here into the darkness of space once again, and start on your destination back towards the Inferna. Very cool. So Vam, you're doing a lot of research, I think, over the next, you know, couple of days it's going to take you to get closer to the Inferno here. So what are you doing? Are you using some kind of skill? Is it mostly computer stuff? Is it like general research, books?
I'd say a combination. Anything at my disposal on this ship, the internet, books that we have aboard, but mostly trying to find like testimony of other people coming across other apparitions, what they looked like, how long they lasted, everything like that. Just have other people experience this before.
Yeah, absolutely. So why don't you go ahead and give me, I want some kind of skill check for this. Why don't we do a series of 3 to kind of take place over 3 days and see what you can get from this. So let's do day 1. What would you like to use?
Day 1, let's start with computers, because that would be the first thing I go to.
Okay, and let's do, so let's start with basics, so complexity 2.
Okay.
Okay.
Nice.
So I think as a cursory search, you know, you are looking for phenomena of this. And of course, like any culture, there are so many people who believe ghosts are real and that they are haunted by things, and there's a huge, you know, supernatural community. So the existence of ghosts in this planet, much like our own, is sort of a, you know, a question mark. Some people really believe in it, some people don't. But you do find some cursory research that sometimes, you know, magic can go awry, and some beings that are imbued with this magical power can potentially linger on after death. And you see some, like, connection with, like, the ancients, and, you know, again, it's a big question mark, but definitely possible, you discover on day 1. So let's go ahead and go to day 2. Complexity 3 as you get deeper into this. What kind of skill would you like to use?
Let's go power, because I feel like that would tie more closely with magic and whatever knowledge I have there, considering that it could be a magical presence or something like that, lingering effect of magic. So we'll go with power.
Okay, let's do it. Complexity 3. Nice. So another day, you know, you are summoning your power, and Kaz does both, as you are discovering and kind of delving deeper into these mysteries to find, you know, the truth amongst the fiction here. And you do discover that there is a marked phenomenon that sometimes happen, something called a plasma ghost, which is a very specific action that happens. So plasma, once again, is the material that kind of fuels magic. And it works a lot like fossil fuels in our world, where plasma is actually something that is mined from deep wells, deep underground. So on occasion, if a being dies submerged in plasma, this phenomenon has been known to happen where an apparition or a creature appears after their death. So you do find some scattered research on this subject or reports of it, but it's very rare and few and far between, because plasma wells themselves are also incredibly rare. So you're not really sure if this is reports still, or like it's still kind of a question mark. So let's move into day 3. This is going to be complexity 4 to see what you can, if you can nail this. What would you like to use?
I would love to go to a larger size die, but
You still can.
You still can. You still can. I know those sweet, sweet Nova points, though. That's a tasty score.
Yeah, I mean, how can we make suave work for this?
You reach someone over the compliment and like charm them like a researcher. Like you could talk
reach
to
out to a
people.
specialist, yeah, or try to find one of these people who like published this report online, maybe.
Yeah, we'll make a very impressive email. Send them out. Oh, we really enjoyed your work discussing the complexities of plasma and lingering magical presence and when submerged and da-da-da. I'd love to get your thoughts on this scenario and what I recently experienced, that kind of thing.
Yeah, sure. All right. So complexity 4, making this suave as heck email. And I think this is multiple correspondences that this is sort of covering.
Yeah.
No. Okay. So you get so far down this research hole here that I think you reach out to this person and you're trying to follow up on these reports, and I think after not getting responses from this person, you do a little bit more digging, and it seems like this person who published all this research has died in a strange and unexpected way. So the paper trail sort of just stops there. So you can't talk directly to someone who's experienced this. But I will say, given the weirdness of their death, you can take another look kind of at what they have in front of them. So you do garner some additional information. You're not sure if it's fact or fiction, but secondhand sources at least. So it seems that plasma ghosts in particular, so plasma is poison to most creatures. If you touch it, it is sort of like an acid. It's like being submerged in like gasoline or oil. It would not be good for you. So, usually when plasma is drilled, there's lots of like operations in place and, factories and precautions. But again, yeah, if somebody specifically drowns in plasma or is submerged in it in a way that they can't get out, that death in particular causes this kind of psychic remnant of this being, and they're incorporeal. These beings seem to have faint awareness or memories of what they were, but they don't seem to remember everything. So this often makes them confused and violent, but they can be spoken to if talked down and patiently. You do know that there apparently is some kind of like degradation that happens. So a longer the plasma ghost has to linger around, the more potentially violent and volatile they get, as they start to forget what they are. And it seems like usually plasma ghosts come from accidents, or, if there's like battles or something like over these wells, potentially this can happen. But that seems to be the end of kind of the general trails here. And yeah, with that failure, unfortunately, it looks like your primary source is no longer available to talk to. They kind of disappeared when they were researching one of these incidents on a planet.
So I know we had our little powwow after we put Lou into the healing bay. Did you tell us, Atash, how Lou got injured specifically? Was it like the psychic apparition had a blaster and shot them, or?
Yeah, I mean, I would have, like, once we were off and had gotten out and we were talking about what Ola found in MI space and all of that, I would have told you all in more detail about how it was just this this hologram and sort of tell you the whole
sort of just like an energy
event.
emission, from
Yeah,
this thing.
it definitely was not a blaster. It didn't look like it was a weapon of any sort.
Yeah. So while you are getting this information, this is what Vam's kind of 3 days look like. Atash, why don't you give us a getting to know you montage over these 3 days? What are some of the trials you find? What are some of the joys you find operating this new body?
I think the first day, so much of my time is spent going through the various surveys and paperwork that the rest of the jour gave me, and just trying to sort of organize, what I'm going to do and how I can, what things I can do that can apply to multiple surveys and just get organized. And at the end of that first day, I have been in my little cabin. There's papers everywhere, and at the end of the day, I like get up and like my legs don't support me because I have not had any water all day.
Oh yeah, you're feeling
and
withered.
So all of yeah, exactly, like all of the root systems and all of the everything is just not supported anymore. So I, being very familiar with crawling around on the ground, I crawl over to one side of my cabin to get some water, and it pretty quickly flows through the system and perks me up and allows me to stand again. But I think that's the first thing that I learn is that as important as hydration was as a slug, it is even more important as a plant.
I think you do see in your kit there is like sort of a low, I imagine it's like one of those things you get, like a foot massager thing, like a foot spa, that can like sit below you, and you didn't really know what that was for before, but as you're looking at it, like, it's like so you can keep a little pool of water, like if you're working or something, you can just like stick your roots in, and it's super comfortable. You even see that there are little like packets that have been sent to the side that you discover are full of like little nutrient blends that you can dump in, and they'll give you like little mood boosts, or it's like your antioxidant. It's like dumping a cup of green tea into your
Yes. All right, so that is at least part of day, like a constant part of day 2 is like sort of experimenting with parts of these little satchels, seeing what they taste like, and all of that. So that's a big part of I always have that survey by my side, and I'm sort of always doing that. I think the other thing that I realize after the first day, having that sort of physiological issue, the first thing that I decide that I want to do on day 2 is really sort of test the physical limits of this form. What can I do? What do the jour what can the jour do, and can I also do them? Are there different things? Are there not as many things? All of that sort of thing. So I start, very simply going down the list, and sort of the first thing is just sort of a basic motor function test. And I realize that actually, my limbs have a bit actually more fine control than I thought. The vines that make up my limbs can actually, it takes quite a bit of concentration, but the vines that make up my limbs can actually be individually controlled. It doesn't have to be all as one. And I see this thing on the survey that I don't sort of fully understand, but it has like step-by-step checklist process. So I'm going through the checklist process, and I feel this sort of snapping sensation. And I look up from the survey, and vines have shot out from like every side of me and have plastered themselves, like speared themselves into the walls around me. Not deeply, but like there are definitely like marks on the walls. And I said, oh, I should be careful with that. All right. And it takes me a little while to figure out how to retract each of them. But I think maybe day 2 is sort of spent experimenting with the food and with that cool move.
Yes, very, very cool. What has Ola been up to during this sort of 3-day period?
Yeah, I think we see a couple of scenes. Ola's kind of all around the ship. Ola's doing, kind of checkups on how the ship's engine is running and stuff, doing diagnostics. I think in sort of downtime after all the checks have been done for the day, Ola has stepped into MI space once or twice and just sort of checked on things, looked around,
So
and
many plants.
I think he's, if we communicate with Wanda in MI space in a very intimate way, he's also under the idea that maybe we can communicate with this plant part of Wanda in an interesting way. So he's been trying to like tend to the plants in there, and I think getting big eye rolls from Wanda, but is sort of, trying to water plants, and of course trying to like check on the health of the stump that's in sort of non-MI space as well.
Yeah, I think your general, I think, interactions in MI space, there are definitely more plants that are appearing every time you go in there, and Wanda's just like, it's so weird. I can't get rid of them. I mean, I can usually design all this, but they just keep showing back up. So you come in here, you water them as much as you want. I'm certainly not going to. I never wanted kids, and I don't want anything like this.
We'll take care of it, Wanda. We could build a little alcove for them, maybe off to the side. I'm sorry they've interrupted your space so profoundly.
You do also probably notice, like, as the plants increase, Wanda looks healthier, I think is the better way to say it. Like, she usually has like these kind of bags under her eyes and looks pretty rough and ragged, but she seems to be losing years like every time you also come back in, and just moves around more quickly, and just looks better. So she does grumble and gives you a hard time, but you can definitely tell that she is also feeling better. But she would never let you know that.
That's awesome. I think the only other thing that Ola is doing is, has maybe sketched in a little sketchbook, like what he saw of Clara, and has just been kind of, thinking about her, even though so far we've seen no more evidence of what she is. So I think he's like doing his morning like fitness routine, and there's like a picture of her sketched up and hanging on his wall. But so far no more clues.
So far, no. And I will say also, every time you check on the engine, much like MI Space, it seems to be just, growing more tendrils and sprouting new leaves, and more of these organic connections as sort of the plant, is getting over the shock of being repotted, and is now just starting this rapid growth. So you see like these little white flowers have also started to appear all over it. So it seems congruent that as this engine looks healthier, the amount of plants in Wanda's MI space seems to increase. And you do notice that your ship is traveling much faster than it used to. It seems like the speed increases day by day, so the capabilities of your ship are certainly growing as this engine gets more comfortable. So you're basically going to be looking at cutting the time it would take, because 17 days was the original estimate. You went 5 days, you lost about a day here, so you were like 6, so you had 11. You're thinking now you've made up a lot of time. You're going to be there, like 5 days. So we're coming to day 3, so you are getting really close to the Inferna at this point. So this green magic is, making your ship whatever Bud did. It seems to be working really well.
We got our Wanda on a plant-based diet.
Yeah.
She's feeling great.
She went veggie and she feels great. Oh my gosh. Oh, Wanda. It's okay. Booze is vegetarian. It's fine. All right, so that's sort of day 3 where we all find you all. And I think, you can share the news. Wanda lets you know that within 48 hours, you are going to be arriving at the Inferna. So, any kind of planning you want to all do?
Bold
as a crew?
of you to assume we have a plan, but yes, I think we should.
Are there any hits on like the video I sent? Like anyone reach back with my like call to action?
Oh, yes. Why don't you go ahead and give me a retroactive skill check for recording that video, to see how effective.
Ooh, presence. How about that?
Presence sounds about right for this. So let's say Let's go ahead and do a complexity 3 for this and see how it goes.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah.
Oh,
Nice.
on D6, that's good. Nicely done.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that, you're waiting with anticipation as this happens. And it's very frustrating because since you are traveling further and further out into Olaxis, the CompleNet connection is unstable at times. So sometimes you have to wait like hours to, get your video to update, and it doesn't look like anybody's liking it. But then, 2 hours later, you check it and you see 50 likes, you see 100 likes, you see shares, you see it's being reposted to blogs and other websites. You have Rornan who are starting to comment on it, wondering where you are, sending you geotag locations of where they are in Olaxis. And you're starting to get emails and filters as you are growing a network of people who are incredibly interested in what you're doing and just want to know what they can do to help you with this cult situation. I think you're seeing a lot of sad stories come up from people too, like on these planets on the edge of Olaxis that nobody ever believed or listened to them, because the daylight cult almost always just hits those outer rim planets. So people are sending you their stories and connecting with you on this.
Amazing. The revolution is beginning, and we are replying to as many emails and likes and shares as we can. And we're saying, we hear you, we believe you, we have witnessed this firsthand. You will not be ignored simply because of distance, because you are far, far from the outreaches of any help. We are the help. We will help each other. This is what community is for. Come together, meet us here. This is where our action begins. And I'm sending coordinates to as many people who want to try to come and join us. I know it's far and it might take some people longer to come join us, but I'm sending coordinates to anyone who wants to come meet up with us. Are you going to give
them the time of our sort of ETA?
Yeah, I will also do that. It seems
so
we will be there in 48 hours. So we will do as much as we can to wait for you and build our numbers before we take action.
Yes. And I think, Kazda over the course of this has made it their responsibility to sit down and divide the emails amongst you, because you can share the same mind, so you can type the same email, at the exact same time. So
they're like silently transcribing my thoughts.
Yeah, absolutely. Into these emails. So you're just in sync, writing emails and responses and messages back to everyone. So you are very busy. Very cool. So yeah, within 48 hours, we will be at the Inferna. So
yeah. The only other thing I wanted to ask about is maybe talking with Wanda, maybe Atash. Any thoughts about stuff we could do? I think I was maybe about to get us all together, but then I see furious typing from the Ronan.
Yeah, Vam.
And I'm like, they are on it.
Are
they are maxed out, and I respect it. So Ola's maybe asking Atash if you would come help me draft a plan about, how can we kind of scout it out a little bit first without maybe being seen? Is there anything that Wanda can do or that we could do or set, work on the ship to a weird paint job? I don't know, to make us kind of
camo.
Yeah.
Paint it all black so you have camouflage in space.
Yes. Someday the vines of that engine will creep around the ship, I imagine.
Yes.
Oh my god, what a stunning ship. All black with vines growing around it.
Good. Very
beautiful.
Yes.
Extremely good. So I might leave you for just a couple seconds while I go ahead and refill more grapefruit juice, because it's just making me thirstier.
I'm gonna get more water too. Exciting. Water break.
But yeah, it's a thirsty time here too.
Yeah. It's warm.
Do we want to take actual quick couple minute break here?
I have water.
I have a BRB screen.
Thank you.
Okay.
We can. Sure.
We're going to take a tiny little hydration break, folks. So we're going to be back here in 5 minutes. So 819. Thank
Easy,
you all so
yeah.
much. It is very hot, and we really appreciate you sticking with us through a hydration break. Okay, we are going to be right back, fam. All right. Bye.
Yeah.
We are back. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much. Okay, I'm not muted. Thank you, everybody, so much. Hydration break. It's important. Please do remember that streaming during August is hard. So if you have streamers that you love, please make sure to like, subscribe, tell the word, spread the word about all of these streams because we are doing extra to bring you all this good content. Anyway, that's my pontificating. So now let's dive back into this game. Cool. So 48 hours. We were talking about some plans. Maybe Ola had some thoughts. Maybe painting the whole ship black. I don't know. Was that?
You know, Unclear. I was gonna possibly it would be worth a roll, or maybe just talking to Atash if Atash had any ideas. I feel like this would be a thing that like my time in combat in the past, like I worked with like mercenary armies, right? Like I feel like there's probably established ways of how do you get intel on on someone without their knowing, and maybe the answer is you have a ship that isn't Wanda. And that's a valid answer. In case there are any tricks, I would love to noodle on them.
Sure. So I will say, I think you have the distinct advantage because the Inferno used to be a Cthulhu outpost. You might, in particular, have resources you could reach out to maybe even get a layout or a plan of the Inferno itself. So that might be an option. Unfortunately, you do have the Wanderer ship, which you picked, is very nice to live in, very spacious, not a subtle ship in any way. It's a big chonky piece of junk moving through space here. So you really don't have any kind of shielding, or stealth is going to be pretty hard as a general option, especially if they do have multiple ships or multiple people watching out, which they're likely to have on a space station. So stealth would be hard, but you think you could probably, maybe with a skill check, get these
plans.
Get the
like a great
station
idea.
plans.
Yeah, I think Atash, maybe I'm workshopping with you, like sort of a plan of entry, right? Like where should we come in, and let's find out how good of plans I find.
Yeah.
So I think I would like to see if this is valid. I think I would like to use empathy because I guess that would be more like, here we go. Maybe empathy because I know how I'm trying to figure out who to reach out to, and I think maybe Vam Fam, if you're okay with it, maybe your contacts have sort of like alerted us to other areas that have been hit by the daylight, and I maybe reached out to like Cthulhu who have been in those areas to be like, hey, you basically reach out to Cthulhu in those areas and find out who would be willing to kind of tell us secrets of the Inferno. So that could be a way.
Oh yeah. If you pass that along to me, I will pass that message onto our little online community that we've put together.
So maybe Ola, like, one finger types a little message, but trying to sort of exhort that this would really help the effort. If anyone can give us information on the Inferno, on the layout of like stations.
Yeah. So. Okay, so I was going to say this is probably pretty difficult because I think the Daylight Cult has, tried to squash what they can find out there. Right. So I was going to set it at 4, but I feel like with Vam's help and that network, we can go ahead and reduce that down to a complexity 3.
Thank you, Vam Fam. Very good.
Nice.
So let's do complexity 3. And I like the empathy, reaching out to your network and trying to, depend on other people to get you this information.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to roll it.
Let's do it.
Okay. It's just to, tell me what.
Yeah.
What's up?
So I think you do absolutely find people who want to help, and it might be that symptom of, when people, they just want to help so much that they kind of interpret information a little bit differently. So you get several sets of plans back from Cthulhu stations that people have served on. So you end up having like 10 different sets of plans, and none of them were called the Inferno. The Inferno was clearly a relabeling. So you have these 10 plans in front of you, and you're like, you think that maybe if you saw the station or if you got inside, maybe you would be able to use these plans, but right now you don't have a frame of reference for what.
That's great, because I just got a Nova point anyway.
Wow.
So.
Failure. Come at me.
Love it. Very cool. Thank you.
So I will say you do have these plans, and I think if you see the station, or once you're on the station, you can narrow down
insight. Awesome.
Which one.
Thank you.
This. So don't forget you have those, because I'll forget. So.
Oh, they're going in there.
Oh yeah.
I guess there's sort of my two biggest questions are like, how are we gonna approach? Because we don't have like a landing vessel on Wanda. Like it's Wanda or bust. So like, what's our approach gonna be? And then what is the plan for like the first inevitable time that we run into a cultist, right? I don't have the answers. But I think those are sort of the things that we need to figure out. And if we can't really make full use of the plans until we've gotten onto the station, then I guess what we really need to figure out. Okay, so looking at the plans then, are there any, in terms of like points of entry and docking stations on these plans, are there similarities in terms of like the way that Cthulhu outposts are built generally? Like they always have a main entrance on top, or anything like that we can sort of divine from these many plans?
Yeah, so I think as you're looking at it, I mean, all of these kind of combat stations or outlying stations, they tend to be on the smaller, sleeker, more Spartan kind of side of things. So luckily, these plans aren't too hard to interpret or read. Cthulhu are very into making things make sense, and geometry, which is a blessing when looking at these plans. So for most of these stations, you are looking at like 1 to 4 sort of entrances on different places. So like hangar bays or like main docking entry points. So you can safely assume that the station you are going to will have multiple points of entry. You can probably assume that one of these will be the more frequently used, like, you know, where the standard ships come in and out, like a hangar bay. So you will likely have several.
Okay.
So central airlocks or crew airlocks, hangars, sometimes multiple hangars if it's a bigger vessel. So it's safe to assume you'll have a few different points.
Okay.
We know that the Daylight Cult takes these kidnapped people and forces them to face the burn. Do we think that they're going to do that in a ship, or do we think the station is so close that there could be an airlock they can junk people out into? Is there any insight
so
there?
as you are looking at the destination, and you know, the burn itself does always shift its borders, but that's more of in terms of like months as opposed to days. So you can look at the most like updated, you know, map of the burn that's out there, and it looks like the Inferna is right next to the burn. Like if you were to fly 10 minutes past where the Inferna is, you would be walking into the wall here. So if they did eject people from it, that makes a lot of sense. It's right there.
Okay.
You are going to be in a very perilous spot on how close you are to the burn, because the burn is completely unpredictable. You know, when it moves in there is no science behind when it does or does not strike or shift.
I'm wondering if we should attack their MIs in their ships, right? If we disable, I would love to have
that's interesting.
to only be working against the people inside the station. So that is the thought I have.
Yeah, I think it sort of ends up depending on how many ships they have, right?
Right.
But I definitely like that. I also I think because we know we're gonna have to get out, and if the burn is that close, I think we may end up being even more limited in our docking options, because I don't want Wanda on the backside, right? In case something happens when we're trying to get out, I think we want her as far from as possible. So that, I mean, in some ways that'll make the choice easier. I don't know if it'll make the choice better, but it'll make it easier. Do any of us, and I guess Atash will ask, and I guess if the answer is no from Ola and Vam Fam, then they'll go and check loose things too. But I guess Atash will ask him, hey, do any of you have anything on you that's particularly flammable?
We don't like fire.
No.
I don't believe so.
It's a fair point.
No.
Well, there are all manner of, strange things in the kitchen, or, tools that might be used to repair the engines. I suspect there are some unfortunately flammable, carefully guarded materials. I would love to know more about what your plan is.
I think you hear a little intrusive chirp from Wanda, and she goes, I've got a lot of plants in here.
Yes.
Okay, well, we can have a long talk about which plants are flammable when, but thank you, Wanda. Just I'm here now, so I too am a plant, and I would rather not burn other plants it just feels wrong. You know what I mean?
She goes very quiet.
Oh, Wanda, don't hold it against me. So the problem of the approach, I think, is something that we're going to some extent, have to deal with when we can see the station, right? I think Ola's right. I think we need to see if we can take out some of their MIs, and we're going to have to just dock where we can so that Wanda's as safe as possible. It's going to be inevitable, right, that we're going to probably run into somebody at some point. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't know a whole lot about the Daylight Cult, but it feels like if there's a lot of people, this is a base for them. Going in guns a-blazing is not going to be great for us. So I'm just thinking, if we want to pretend that we're cultists, maybe some of us are prisoners coming, I don't know, something of that. I've read all of these books that have these stories from, all over the galaxy, that have these stories about people pretending to be tied up and then it's very dramatic anyway. But I just thought that, since we don't know a lot about them, but we do know that they can set their hands on fire, if we could figure out a way to sort of fake that very briefly, it might help us. Maybe we know what the cultist that sort of seemed to be in charge. We know what he was wearing. Maybe we can do that and then just, grunt intimidatingly and set a hand on fire. Maybe not Vam Fam, though. I know that they don't like the fire.
It is a very elaborate and creative plan. I would also like to suggest perhaps we find or locate a major source of power for their base and annihilate that before moving in.
Yeah.
I like the idea of we could pretend about our intentions over the comms as we get close, and that would let us get close enough perhaps to identify the number of ships, to look at a power source and take it out. So I think this is a good plan. I don't want to set my hands on fire. Do you think I will if that's what the team needs?
If that's what the team needs, I will light my hands on fire.
Well, actually, since I've been in communications with my little army growing, do I have any ETAs from them about how soon or soon after our arrival anyone else will show up, or how many of them?
So you are getting sort of, it's the scattered responses of people who are like, yeah, we're totally there, I just gotta find a ship, I gotta find a way to get out there. So just for reference, in the different parts of the Olaxis galaxy, you are officially entering what is known as the Ghost Belt, which basically absolutely no one lives out here because it's so close to the burn. The only people you find out here are monsters, pirates, and cultists who love living by the burn. Those poor planets that have just at the end of their rope, they have no resources left. So these people, as much as they want to get to you, they're trying their best, but you cannot be sure for most of these folks, because the ones you're reaching out to, they are the desperate. They are the ones who have already lost so much, and probably don't have a multitude of ships at their disposal, but people are trying.
All right. Well, I was hoping that we could be like, yeah, we have some prisoners coming in soon, so prepare for arrival, that kind of thing. But there's no guarantee. I don't know how well we could fool them, but I'd say it's worth a shot.
Yeah.
All right. So as we approach, then I think we sort of need to have. We have a couple of things that need to happen, right? One is when they hail us, somebody's got to tell them whatever lie we come up with, yeah? As soon as we can see the station, somebody, Ola, I suppose, but I don't know. Whoever thinks they can do this the fastest has got to go through the charts and figure out which schematic applies to this station. And then I guess somebody should be ready to hop into MI space if we're going to enter combat with these other ships, just so we have all the bases covered at the same time.
I think Wanda can attack other ships, right? So if Vam Fam didn't want to physically go into MI space, you could still help Wanda do it, I think.
Yeah, I don't believe Wanda has any modules or options to be able to attack presently.
Okay.
So unfortunately, there's not a lot of offensive things you could do inside MI space, or unfortunately, Wanda couldn't offer you anything. We do have that special ability I talked about. If you do go to MI space, which is a healing ability, but not offense, unfortunately.
And that includes if we're in there, we have no way of attacking another MI from the space.
Correct.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. I think there are the Gleans have a lot of abilities that let you use MIs like that, and I think there are a couple modules you can install, but
gotcha.
Not on our ship, unfortunately.
In that case, it's the lie, the schematics, and then possibly operating the turret, getting ready to, or like looking for an energy source to sort of take out.
Sweet. Well, sounds like we have a plan. So do we want to go ahead and fast forward to floating into Inferno space?
Heck yeah.
I think so.
I'm very excited. So, as you continue to move through the Ghost Belt, I think this is probably the furthest out any of you have been in Olaxis, or at least Ola, last time you were out this far, it certainly did not look like this. The burn had not encroached this far. So as you come within a few hours of the station, already on the view screens you can see far in the distance this orange, yellow, scarlet moving mass of plasma or like clouds, sometimes like fire. As you look at it, it shifts and changes, but this glow on it's weird because there's not horizon in space, but it does look like all of a sudden there's a wall that separates up and down in gravity in bizarre dimensions. As you look at it, it boggles the mind, but the glow permeates through this view screen here. And floating just in front of it, your Wanda is able to give you those close-up views as you're drifting closer. You see this space station that's definitely fallen into disrepair here, but you do see lights and activities moving around it. It seems to be kind of on the smaller side for a space station, so right off the bat, you're not looking at like a full army of people here. You can also tell that it's U-shaped, and as you approach, you can see that there is a main set of like entry doors for larger ships sort of at the center of that U, and then also on the left side, and then you can vaguely see an entrance on the right side here that looks like it's for very small ships, maybe like those ships that landed on Ozobni, those little courier, VIP shuttles. So that's the general view you see as you take it in, and of course the station is backlit by the orange flickering flames of the burn. And as you approach, Wanda lets you know, well, it looks like we've got a call incoming from that. Looks like a video call, so are you decent? You want to take it?
Oh god, of course it's a video call. I didn't even think about that. I look around. Am I taking this? We didn't really talk about who was doing what, but Emma, is this me?
You can open it up if you want,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You've just been so convincing in your new body. I think you're ready.
Yeah, nothing like taking a plant body to a burning cult. All right, here we go.
they love it.
I also, to be clear, like ever since we made this plan, I have spent as much time soaking up as much moisture as possible. So Cotyledon Zavoy is like swole. He is thick. just with water, just
So
pumped
fucked with
because
water.
absolutely terrified of
Awesome.
getting burned in here.
When you want the water weight.
I love
Heck
it.
yeah.
The one time. So
Right.
so you kind of position yourself in place. So is it just Atash who's going to be taking this call, or do you want to open up the lens at all?
Well, I think we definitely don't want. I assume, Ola, are you at this point? Are we close enough to see the station
You
to
can.
get? I mean, to see it well enough to start comparing the different schematics.
Yeah, you can start kind of ruffling
Okay.
through things.
So, if Vam, if you want to be a part of it, that's fine. I just want to make sure that Ola and the schematics are not.
Right.
Well, you are positioned where to take this call exactly, because
It'd probably be up at the kind of the front somewhere.
The
I
very
imagine
front.
around
Yeah.
here is going to be the comms panel.
then
I
yeah,
think
I'll be behind you, kind of taking a soldier position, but also
Okay.
very close to the turret in case I gotta run
Sure.
over there and start doing.
I guess.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Lou has been sleeping a lot. And Lou is in Lou's quarters. I think this was their
Recovering
room?
from that plasma stuff is tough.
Yeah, no, it was
Oh,
rough.
we were gonna whatever we finish with today. I was gonna end with Atash going, "Oh my gods!" and running to get Lou out of the cryo chamber.
I forgot. Oh, yeah, maybe you have to let them out. They're just in stasis this whole time because you totally forgot.
I think they're just in stasis. Yep.
Like that answer a lot more. You just have to like put in the chemicals to wake them up, and you just never did.
Right, and just forgot.
We've been
Yeah.
very focused.
Yeah, and then because Raindrop started feeling fine and just started broke into the bag of kibble, and they've been having a great time.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
4
just
days.
please just punch.
Oh my. All right. So you head up to the main comms, and you see this blinking light that indicates a video call incoming, and you reach out. You push it.
All right, Wanda, let's do this. Comms online.
All right. And with the ding sound, you see this hologram lights up in front of you, and a figure appears. And you can see this figure. You cannot tell what species they are because they are completely dressed in these red robes with this deep, deep hood that trails down and over their shoulders. And you can see it's trimmed with gold on the sides. They are also wearing a mask, this white, almost bone-like mask that completely covers their face. And there is a moment as they consider you on this screen, and you hear, "Hello, welcome to the Inferna. My name is Oppo Medinivinkin, Hand of Gulmok, member of the Daylight, and servant of Tilda Mir. It is a pleasure to meet you."
Greetings. My name is Cataleden, Hand of Flammery, member of the Daylight, and servant of that last thing you said. No, wait, I had it in my mind and then I lost it when I said Flammery.
Tilda Mir is the name.
Tilda Mir, yes. I was
she
like,
gave you.
Tilda Swinton. No.
Not Tilda! Precious angel.
And servant of Tildemir, we are glad to have finally arrived at the Inferna.
My ships are currently undocking. They shall accompany you to make sure you land safely on board our vessel. And as you look out onto the view screen, you can see that several ships have launched from the station and are coming towards you. You see two, they look like very maneuverable kind of fighter ships, and then one interceptor, which is a slightly larger kind of vessel. They drift out and move towards your ship. So, I'm looking forward to meeting all of you. We have much to discuss. Intrepid adventurers coming all the way out here. How interesting.
Yes, much to discuss. we very much want to help you burn things.
And she is wearing a full mask on her face, so you have no idea what kind of expression she is giving you back. Well then, chat soon. And with that, the video goes off, and you see these 3 ships move in and kind of take up flanking escort positions around you, with the interceptor like hovering above and just behind you, which is sort of like pushing you forward into these docking bay doors.
Ooh.
And I think that's where we're gonna end.
Yeah, that's a great spot.
Yeah, we're either in like Flynn or we're fracked.
Or we're Flynn or fracked. That is our episode for today, as you are being gently coerced on board the Inferna to meet Opo Medinivinkin, who is just a delight. Thank you all.
Oh my God, Lou!
Oh my God! Wait, wow! I think that damages your.
That's how we have to
that's
start
fine.
next week too. That's how we have to start next week too.
Yeah.
And let's not tell Jess.
Yeah, screaming Lou like, oh my God.
We're here.
I am extremely into that. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens. But yes, before we do our sign-offs and everything, let's go around and talk about our story paths. Does anyone feel like they achieved some stuff this time? I feel like we hit a few across the board. So who wants to start?
I feel like the mystery is getting more data, even if it isn't becoming clearer.
Yeah.
So my story path is to solve the mystery of what's weird about Wanda, and boy, what isn't weird about Wanda? But I think the fact that like this plant is sort of in her space, the fact that Wanda was saying that being with another MI overlay kind of resolves some issues that she's been seeing about these deleted files. So I don't know. I feel like we're getting a little closer.
Yeah,
it's a full step.
And then you got the leads about the plasma ghost and stuff too, and you're like, maybe
right,
that's related,
which is all happening around. Yeah.
I think you definitely got some more clues, some more information. So how many have we hit on your path here?
Yeah, so we have hit 2. I feel like there could have been one last week, but we're getting close. So this would be the 3rd, and so then we'd only have 2 more, which feels like about the size of a mystery potentially.
Yeah.
So let me pull up what that says.
Definitely, yeah. Another die, another special ability.
This will be Okay, so if this is a material clue, I increase one of my mental skills by 1. If it's a testimonial, I increase the die of one of my social skills by 1. So, what do you think, folks? Is it material or social?
I mean, you had a
kind of material with a ghost.
Yeah,
right?
I feel like that's pretty material. Because we had a testimonial last time, but I could also see the case for a testimonial with Vam's information. So whichever way.
I feel like weird apparition is a concrete thing we saw and pointed at, and is making adding to the mystery. So I will increase one of my mental skills.
Yeah. So what is the because if I'm right, it was 1, it's like discover the mystery, and then the 3 kind of events on there are sort of just all clues, right?
Right.
And then 5th is
you
the
complete
resolution.
this event when you find a clue that gets you closer to the answer of your question in any way. And so I just get a couple of die skill increases for this.
So to be quite honest, I feel like you've probably hit all 3 clues.
That's okay. That's good.
I think we're probably really close to unraveling this mystery. So I'm totally comfortable with you taking all 3 of those.
Okay, awesome.
I'm giving you clues from a lot of directions.
I feel like last session we got some too, so that makes sense. Yes.
Very cool. So we're 1 step away from a story path. That's very exciting.
Mystery.
All right, other folks though, because I also feel like some action happened all over the place. So what's up? Who's next?
I think my revolution is fully getting started. This would be the 3rd out of 5, which is just getting started. And I mean, gaining 1 follower is is easy, it's simple, but starting to gain like a real following is something else. And now that we've like interacted with these people and heard their stories, like we really our cause has been spread, and now we're starting.
Yes, absolutely. So what do you get as a reward for that? As a special ability die?
Increase the die size of one of your social skills by 1.
Cool. Do you have any, as a reminder, in this game you have to make sure that you have one skill of every size. So do you have an idea about what die you might want to increase? I know your presence got fierce last time, so
well, then I guess we got to get there's so many 4s in my social, then I kind of didn't really get that right the first time. So
this is your chance, your story as it's unfolding.
Yeah, probably empathy. I'd like to increase my empathy.
All right. Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah, as you're hearing these stories and like, connecting with these people all across Olaxis, that makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. Eugenio, did we do any exploring, or what are we looking at in terms of your next path?
So the second, third, and fourth events for this one are taking time to learn about the cultures, art, people, pastimes, religions. These experiences teach you about the people and yourself. You might experience the way they educate their young, a unique art form they appreciate, or the one that I think maybe we could argue for, which is their battle techniques.
Yeah.
And I think that weird vine thing that Atash has been practicing is a super cool battle technique. Yeah. And they've been experimenting with a few other things that might come up soon. So I think if that's cool with you, I think learning the physiology of the jour was my experience this time around.
Yeah, because I think we've definitely, kind of redefined the story path a little for that hands-on experience. So I think as you are experiencing all the different parts of like what it is to live the life of a jour, I think fits very comfortably in that category. So I think you've absolutely achieved an event on that path. What's your reward for that?
So I think the experience was physically taxing, so I will increase the size of one of my physical skills. And I think I'm going to go with, just because of that particular move that I was doing, I think I'm going to increase my melee.
Nice. Yeah, your cool vine explosion.
Yeah.
Very into that. Sweet. Well, it sounds like we're hitting story path events, so we feel like we're on track for those little stories, and we are certainly we are on the second half of this stream, so things are about to drop as we get inside the Inferna. I cannot wait to keep this story going. As a reminder for anyone who's new, this is a show we do weekly on Thursdays at 7 p.m. Pacific time, so you can catch us next week right here in the very same spot. Thank you so much to Roll20 for having us and for giving us the tools to run this amazing game. Seriously, I am having so much fun with this system and cannot recommend enough you going to pick up a copy to share with your friends out there. Science fantasy has become like a very fast love for me that I didn't expect, but oh my gosh, it's magical. And also thank you so much to everybody who donated to Code 2040 tonight, an amazing cause working to give marginalized voices a leg up in the tech industry, which is, of course, absolutely needed. So thank you so much for being here. I think that's the business. So let's go around and tell people who you are, once again, where they can find you. So let's go ahead and start. Darcy.
Hey, everybody. You can find me places at my name, Darcy L. Ross. You can also find me as Monty Cook Games Community Relations Coordinator. So I'm the one on the Twitters. And so go follow Monty Cook Games, which has lots of cool science fantasy stuff and Cypher System, good things that I loved when I was a designer brought on to Burn Bryte. So that's super fun. So go follow me at Darcy L. Ross and Monty Cook Games.
Hi, everybody. I'm Eugenio. Excuse me. You might know me as DM Jazzy Hands. You can find me on Twitter at DM Jazzy Hands. I am the DM and producer of an actual play D&D podcast called The Last Refuge. Drop new episodes every Wednesday. You can check us out at DND Last Refuge. We also hit our 3-year anniversary actually a couple of weeks ago. But the world is weird, so we're delayed in celebrating. But we've got a really cool like artist feature giveaway project that we're going to be announcing hopefully in the next week or so. So now's a great time to hop into the show and check out our Twitter so you can participate in the giveaway. What else? You can find me at my Twitch channel streaming fun video games, twitch.tv/DMJazzyhands. And I was an editor on a project that was just released today on the DMs Guild called Through the Veil. It's a collection of Feywild adventures. And I got yanked in sort of frighteningly late in the process, but got to edit a couple of the adventures in that. And it's going to be a series of volumes, and volume 2, which has some magic items and some monsters, is going to be coming out in a couple of months. So you should check that out, Through the Veil on the DMs Guild.
Very cool.
And I am Naseem. I played Vamfam, your Roarnan, and if you'd like to follow me, I am everywhere online at Nazgul, and also I play on the Venture Maidens Twitch channel for the Venture Maidens podcast, and I also have a Let's Play Sunday mornings at 11 a.m. on the Venture Maidens channel.
Yes, and my name is Celeste Conowich. If you want to see everything I'm doing and my random thoughts, follow me on Twitter at @cconowich. If you want the full catalog, because I am a freelance designer for RPGs, streamer, you can find me on the Venture Maidens, doing all kinds of stuff. You can always check out my website, celesteconowich.com. Thank you again, everybody, so much for being here. It really, really means the world to us when we see you going out there online and spreading the word about both Burn Bryte in general and this stream in particular. So please, please tell anyone you think might be interested in this stream to get in here. And what's super great is that all of our videos also post immediately on YouTube the next day. So you can always go to the Roll20 YouTube account and see, catch up on the adventure so far. Yeah, wow. I can't wait to see you all next week. It's going to be a very good time. Yeah, as a reminder, we are playing through Burning Daylight. You may know why after some of the clues here for the name of that, but we are rapidly coming to the conclusion of that adventure, and it is explosive.
Heating up.
Heating up, getting spicy, turning it up to 11.
Oh,
it's gonna explode. But with that in mind, talking about explosions, you know what? Until next time, blast off.
Blast off.
Blast off, everybody. We'll see you next week. Goodbye.
Good evening.